Howdy, partners. Well, the worst possible scenario has happened. We have to deal with this shit all over again. How the hell did this happen? How did we get here? Who am I about to cuss out? And what are we gonna do? I'm Mikey Famine. This is the BinPodcast Network. Buckle up. Vice President Kamala Harris ended up with 226 electoral college votes and 70,980,381 total votes, which is nowhere near enough. This was an ass whooping. We got smashed. With so much on the line, how could so few people show up? Let's look at some charts. Holy impeachment, Batman. This is gross. Even if all the spoilers voted for her, she still would have lost by 2 million. She lost every swing state. Every single one of them. Well, the red states went really red, so why didn't the Democrats show up? I did my part. Before we look up how many people stayed home, let's make another chart. We will call it the blame chart. Let's start at the bottom. Racists. There is no doubt in my melanated brain that there is a group of voters and taxpayers out there who do not want a black or brown person in charge. Think I'm making it up? Trump's not even in there yet, and the racial crimes are already climbing. So buckle up, it's not going to get better anytime soon. So to all my BIPOC diaspora, travel together, bring your own water, and communicate with people that you trust. Next up, the media. While they didn't do the same hack job that they did in 2016, they failed us. They failed on several accounts. Instead of launching counter narratives to protect the people of Springfield, Ohio, instead of describing the strife and turmoil that's happening in Haiti in detail to enlighten darkened minds, they went for clicks. They repeated a racist trope over and over and over. I also include any podcast that help to spread all of the misinformation that's currently floating around these days. There will be victims for your lies and your self-centered apathy. The internet never forgets. Misogyny has gotten, quite frankly, disgusting. When asked, do you care more about the health of all birthing persons or just a promise of cheaper gas, the people unanimously chose the latter. Sick and twisted is just the start of this. By using some archaic law about transporting the materials used for abortions, aka all of the materials and equipment used for women's health, they will become illegal to transport. You won't be able to move them from place to place, from state to state. Normal appointments will be disrupted, maybe even halted. Doctors aren't going to stick around and see if they go to jail for having a speculum in their office. This just made abortion less safe in America. Also, no shade, but Tanzania, Bosnia, Mexico all had female leaders before the United States. 9 out of 13 current women leaders are their country's first. Sucks to not be at the adults' table when it comes to the world stage. We sit at the table with China, Russia, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Afghanistan. Again, no shade, but come on, boys. Big chunk of the blame goes to the Democratic Party. Without a primary, the people didn't really feel like they were being heard. And then they were promised that they were going to get 4 more years of not getting heard. They promised that they were going to get 4 more years of the same thing. Well, not everybody had a great time over the last 4 years. They literally said, we're still hurting. Instead of compassion and understanding, people were shown charts and graphs that did nothing but prove that there are two Americas, and the rich one was very proud of its economy. Meanwhile, the middle-class dude or dudette haven't felt relief in years. Instead of acknowledging that this is a slow and painful process and that their sacrifices were not in vain, they were told that everyone else would be begging for an economy like ours. After COVID, the recession, and greedflation, we are tapped, utterly broke. Holding our breath for the greater good has its limits. Eventually, the people need respite. And it was their desperation cries for respite that went unanswered. Now, voting for Trump isn't the right call either. But if you have limited info and are worried about your bills, I'm not saying I get it, but I understand the decision. I wholeheartedly disagree with the decision, but I get it. Joseph Robin's Egg Stingray Biden. You wear the most blame. Over and over, the people begged, and you raised a wrinkled hand to shoo us away from interrupting you from your ideas and plans. We wouldn't understand. You know best, after all. But you lied, Mr. President. You said 1 term only. That was a lie. You waited until the very last second to drop out, which didn't give the party or VP Harris enough time to run an adequate campaign. Granted, they ran it into the ground by trying to out-Republican the Republicans by offering Republican light or diet Republican zero. All the war crimes, no carbs. You said that you would work on student debt relief. That was a lie. I mean, if you work in DC, in Congress, chances are you got your loan forgiven. But nothing for the essential workers who are tasked with keeping us fed and safe and healthy during the worst health crisis in a millennia. Thank you, essential workers. You deserve better. Your debate performance all but cemented a second Trump presidency. You and your handlers should have known better. And we will have to pay the penance for your hubris. You lied about Gaza and placed Americans at home and abroad in the worst possible position. Helpless enablers of war crimes. That's not your call to make. You repeated misinformation that got a little boy in my city killed. I will not forget that. Your obvious cognitive and moral decline have dug yet another pit for the millennials to dig your generation out of. Your handlers who saw you on a daily basis and still swore up and down that you were sharp and had a great memory. The most important job for a leader is to know when it is time to step aside. Your arrogance has doomed us to a path that is paved with distrust, hatred, and violence. We will weather this. We will resist oppression. We will save lives. We will protect the vulnerable, and we will rebuild. But all of it will be in spite of you, not because of you. Right on off into the sunset now. I mean, unless you want to use like your Supreme Court superpowers to like do something. Like, I don't know, last minute, last chance for romance, closing time. Sure you don't want to like lock up all of Congress until they remove your superpowers. Get us a constitutional convention. I mean, there's still a couple months left. I mean, just have an ice cream cone and promise me you'll think about it. Thank you so much for watching. Push all the buttons down there. Give me all the good stuff. And if you want to see more breakdowns from me, Mike Famine, and all the rest of the crew here at the BIM Podcast Network. Hit that bell, man, so you know when we're going to post something. But that's it for me. Drink more water, tell somebody you love them today, and I will catch you on the flip side.